been my problem this whole week. I've been having trouble listening. I've been having trouble focusing enough to actually hear. Of course, luckily for me, John Denver's song has been running through my head. Home, come on home, ye who are weary. Anybody been weary lately? Ye who are weary, come home. That voice that's tenderly calling us to remember the truth of our divinity. I guess I'm lucky that I heard that all week, because I'll tell you what, last night when I was working on my talk, I had no talk. I told Glenda, I said, I had no talk. I could not get grounded enough to even think about what does home for the soul really mean. I was looking everywhere, right? I was going all over. Now, this is a secret I'll share with you. We only teach a few things at Common Ground. You know, we don't have dogma, we don't have liturgy, we don't have, so kind of a stretch, right? We teach a few things here. And every time we get on this platform to talk, it's about those few things. One power and one presence. We teach that we're all an expression, a unique expression of that. We've all got that spark of divinity within us. That when we're quiet and listen and go into that place of prayer and meditation, things get more clear and we remember the truth of our divinity. That the thoughts that we hold in our awareness, in our minds, determine the way our life shows up. And then none of it makes any difference unless we walk the talk and have the capacity to actually express the divinity that we're aware of within ourselves. That's it, folks. Every Sunday when we step on this platform, that's what we're teaching. Some version of that, right? So what we do every month is we play. We pick a topic, and then we pick talk topics for each week, and then we try to stretch into those talk topics in some way or other to demonstrate one of these or several of these 5 different ideas. That's it. That's what we do. Well, for some reason, I couldn't stretch. I was stuck. I was absolutely stuck. I couldn't figure it out. And so I worked on this talk, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. And I went to bed. And I thought, this is just going to be a disaster. Because when Glenda knows, when we are not clear and we are not grounded, it's really hard to stand up here and try to say something that might make a difference in someone's life, right? Because if I can't inspire me, how am I going to inspire anybody else? So I went to bed last night. Luckily for me, in the wee hours of the morning, John Denver's song is still floating through my head. Ye who are weary, come home, tenderly calling. And I got it. I went, a snail? Are you kidding? What the heck is that image for? What? How? Excuse me? You know, I get some of my best guidance in the wee hours of the morning. Do you? Yeah. And so all of a sudden, I went, got it. Got it. I'm looking through 10 different resources, reading all this material, trying to figure out, well, where is the home for the soul? How does that look? And I got it. It's right where I am. It's wherever we are. It's like the snail. We take it with us, and that's exactly what Glenda said in her way. We take it with us. It's no matter where we go, there we are, and wherever we are, that is. The energy of the divine is there, and that's where our soul goes. It's with us, you see. I spent a whole week contemplating this concept, home for the soul, and I completely missed the point. Totally missed the point. Until the wee hours this morning when I got it and said, oh, I carry my soul with me. It's with me. It's in me. It's as me. It's through me. It's wherever I am. It's wherever God is. But you know what happened? This is what happened. I forgot. I spent a whole week forgetting. And so what I'm going to talk about is, how do we create the environment for ourselves that allows us to be soulful in our life experience, to remember we're that snail, to remember it's right here, because there's a lot of distraction in life. Have you noticed? Things get busy, stuff happens, most of it unintended, uninvited. So we get off track. We're getting out of balance, and all of a sudden, we're forgetting the truth of our being, you see? And so if we actually can orchestrate our life experience with an idea that it's a soulful experience and pay attention to it, we might remember more often. We don't have to spend a whole week looking for it. It might come to us in a quicker way. Because this is what I know. When we're clear about who we are, and we've got soulfulness as a reason for our existence, when we make that a priority, guess what? That becomes the way we experience our life. It's not dry. It's not flat. It's not ho-hum and gray. It's got a whole different quality about it. This is where we get to love the life we're living, when we're living from a soulful place. I was kind of confused this week. Got lots going on in my family, in the world, in some of your lives that we're aware of. There's a lot going on in life, you see. So I got to pay attention to the quality of my soulfulness. That's really important, because if I'm not clear about who I am, it's hard for me to remember the truth about who you are, who everybody else is, you see. So I got to pay attention. And this is the deal. Everything counts. Everything counts. Every iota of life counts. David Hawkins says, the universe holds its breath every single time we make a choice. Everything counts, you see? So whatever's going on, the ordinary experience of life, this is where the soulfulness is. Our understanding of that is what gives our life depth and value and quality. So we got to pay attention to the small details. And sometimes it's the little stuff on the surface of life that is most important to us. Recognizing that. That's why the image of this snail caught me by surprise. This, like a snail, are you kidding? They're icky. So I gotta pay attention to all the little details in life, and then I really have to pay attention to what it is in my life experience that makes me feel most alive, that gives me the greatest passion, that gives me the greatest pleasure in life, so that I can love the life I'm living. Some days are kind of icky, but you know what I have found out? If I can remember the truth of my being, it's less icky. It feels better. I love it more. So this is what I came up with. You know what it takes for me? I'm going to share my journey. For me to remember the truth of my own being, it takes three things. Maybe there's a fourth one I'm not aware of. There probably are many I'm not aware of. So this is what I'd like to share with you today. There are three things that will really help us move into this soulful way of being present with our life experience. Because if we don't take responsibility to organize and shape our life around soulfulness, it doesn't happen. It sort of goes by us. We miss it. We miss that golden opportunity. So this is the first thing we need to do. We need to find a soul sanctuary. Find a soul sanctuary. Because if we don't have that quiet soul sanctuary, that place that we feel so full and so embraced, we're not going to be able to remember the truth of our being as well as we would otherwise. That place of peace, what does that look like for you? Maybe it's just 5 minutes in your bedroom with the door shut. Maybe it's going out into nature. Maybe it's looking at beautiful artwork. Maybe it's singing, playing, listening to music. Maybe it's just celebrating family, children, babies, friends, community, the world, different cultures. Maybe that's what it is. This sanctuary where you're awake and alert and you're looking for soul cues, where you're open to the beauty of life, to surround yourself with what feeds you. So if you're not fed, one of our friends went to an event with someone and said, that didn't feed my soul. That didn't feed my soul. Fed the other person's soul, but it didn't feed mine, right? We've all got our unique thing that feeds our soul. So surround yourself with what feeds you. If you're a 12-stepper, it might be 12-step meetings where you get your strength and your courage to, and your wisdom to move on to your next experience, where you can feel that energy of the divine. But that's really important, to find a sanctuary for your soul, whatever that looks like for you. And you know what that is. The second thing, and this is what happened for me with the snail, find time to be alone. Go apart for a while. Maybe you need to meditate. Maybe you just need to go sit and hug a tree like Glenda does. Glenda loves trees. Maybe you need to be alone. Maybe you just need to go to bed with an intention to get some sort of guidance, and then, Holy Spirit wakes you up in the middle of the night and says, snail. Well, this is it. I'm telling you, this is how we get connected, but we have to be quiet to do that. So whatever it takes for you, maybe you've got a meditation practice, maybe just being in nature, maybe listening to music, that always does it for me. Whatever it takes, so you don't have to go outside of your own beingness to come into a real conversation with your soul. You can, because you're there, right? You're going to take yourself there, but you got to be quiet enough to listen, to hear it, to be embraced by it, you see? Because the soul is right there within you. Wherever you are, the spirit of this divine energy is right there with you. And this is where you get to appreciate yourself. Your beautiful, awesome, incredible, unique expression of divinity. And then, this is the other thing, what I was going to share with you. This is funny. Who's Facebook fans? Yeah, I rarely post anything on Facebook, but somebody posted something, and I thought, well, that's interesting. They have all these little quizzes. What's your color? What's your gemstone? What's your food? What's your country? Whatever. And so here was when it kind of caught my attention was, who were you in a prior life? Who were you in a prior life? And so I thought, I want to check this out. So I took the little quiz, 10 questions, right? And I'm thinking it's going to be something fabulous. Well, it turned out that I was a Tibetan monk. Tibetan monk. And I thought, you know what? That speaks to my soul. Many of you probably wouldn't guess, but I am absolutely the most introverted person you can imagine. That's the truth. I'm hugely introverted. I can play the game. I can get up here and do my job, but I'm very, very introverted, and that quiet place of aloneness is a comforting place for me. I wasn't surprised that I turned out to be a Tibetan monk in another life. Well, I don't know if that's true or not. But what I can tell you is that I know that being quiet and having the capacity to actually open to guidance is really important to my own soul's journey. And when I don't get that, I can't remember who I am. Okay, and this is the third piece. The third thing is relationship is where we find our soulfulness. Our relationships with the world, our relationships with each other, our relationships with community, our relationships with that Anam Cara, that soul friend. We can't really know who we are until we're willing to see our reflection in the eyes and in the face of someone else. We're all one. We are co-hearts. We are in this thing together. And so it takes the interest in orchestrating our life and organizing our life so that we actually pay attention to soul. It takes this idea of getting quiet enough to remember the truth, and it takes the relationship that we have with the world to reflect our soul energy back to us. It takes those three things to actually, our soul is revealed in how we are with each other. Do you realize that? That's the love energy. That's the love energy. When we can cultivate the capacity to know who we are through our experience of soulfulness, to remember the truth of our being, and then to embrace our friends and the world from a soul level. This is the ground of our being. This is the ground of our blessing. This is the ground of loving the life that we're living right now, in this moment, in this snail shell. Doesn't happen anywhere else. Wherever I am, I am. And I'm not going to be right here in my snail shell in 20 minutes. I'm going to be someplace else in my snail shell. And then I have an opportunity to express my soulfulness and my divinity in that experience. Am I totally confusing anyone but me? No? Okay. So this is the deal. When we know who we are, we can bring all of who we are to all of our experiences. We don't have to hold anything back. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to put on a facade. We can be open, we can be authentic, we can be loving, we can be kind. And you know what? Sometimes we're going to be unskillful, and that's okay too, because then we just give ourselves permission to say, uh-oh, please forgive me. Sometimes I just have to forgive myself, and sometimes I have to ask for forgiveness from somebody else and bring all of myself to life itself. That's a big deal. And this is where Home for the Soul really is centered. This circle of belonging to life itself. Now, this is what I'd like to have you do. Ask these questions of yourself. Are you listening? Are you listening for the energy of the divine, that guidance that is there to say to you, remember who you are. Remember you're a snail and you take yourself with you wherever you go. Remember the divine is right here where you are. Are you listening to that? Are you taking time to be thoughtful in the way your life is showing up? Are you too busy, too distracted, too whatever to create a soulfulness around your life experience? Are you, if you're feeling flat, confused? I had that this whole last week. If you're feeling flat, confused, distracted, upset, worried, whatever, are you actually creating an environment where you can remember the truth of your being? And then, am I paying attention to the details of how my life is showing up, so that in every single relationship, in every interaction, can I actually remember the truth of my being, and can I actually see that soul energy in someone else? Thanks for listening.